them, you go clothe them, you go give them food. If you never ready to carry the load, why put time for another person's head? Mama say make we marry, Papa say make we born. Which one children they? There's no food to eat. Oh, my friend, this my life. If you love me, you play for me. Now that song is not a church song. It's a song saying, wait, keep yourself. That song was not by Pastor W.F. Kumuyi. That song was not by Papa Adeboye. That song was not by Pastor Taiwo Dukoya. That song was not by Baba Ladura. That song was by King Sunny Ade and Oyekanwenu. It was not Christian song. That song upheld the moral fiber of society. But all of that we listen to on limited platform. Limited platform. But today we have unlimited platform. You have the internet. You have multiple devices. You have the phone. You have the laptop. You have the iPad. On those multiple platforms, you have the TikTok. You have Facebook. You have Instagram. You have Twitter. You have Pinterest. You have WhatsApp. You have all of these platforms. And our children have access to all of these platforms. Now you don't have TV. You have reality show on TV. You have all kinds of things. And everybody is bombarding our children with their own contents. You don't have music. So there's multiple platforms. Even we adults, we organize programs. We play for children, adult contents. It's an over-sexualized world. Things are messed up. And they're messed up bigly. They're messed up big time. We don't even know the lines. The problem today is that we do not take responsibility for the sexuality of our children early. People want to mess them up. People want to destroy them. They take responsibility early. You are the one that is saying your child is too small to hear something, to hear the right thing. Those who want to mess up the child, they don't consider the age of the child. They start early. So you organize party. You play for children, adult content. So you are singing for children. Eledumare, bless you with body, oh baby. Starboy, we bless you with money, oh omogeo. Oya shoko shoko. Oya gbefun loti. Lopo lopo lopo. You are playing that for children. What's he say? Eledumare, bless you with body. Starboy is going to bless you with money, not because you are wise, not because you are brilliant, not because of your content, the content of your character, but because of your body. Now you are telling that child to lay emphasis on his body. Baby, you pull over. Baby, you pull over. Reverse, baby, you pull over. Baby, you pull over. Inner lights, baby, you pull over. Now, what is the particular of a girl? What is the inner light of a girl? We play all of that for children. And you don't want trouble. And you are not in charge of what your children listen to. And when Big Brother was on, watch the Big Brother. You steal away from your children to watch Big Brother. Your children always steal on you also. They watch away from the curtain. After they come out, you too, you are engrossed. You don't tell them that this Big Brother, because you can't tell them anything, because your life is already preaching the message. You are already endorsing the waywardness in Big Brother. So we are in an over-sexualized world. Practically endorsed by us parents. We endorsed it. Because we also listen to this music. We also dance to the music. We also shake our body to them. How can somebody go to the studio to say he went to record a song? Now, what did he go to the song to record? All he went to record is chop banana tigoyo, chop banana tigoyo, chop banana tigoyo, chop banana tigoyo, chop banana tigoyo 19 times. That's the song. And it was a hit. Alaji, all I want is your waist, your waist, your waist, your waist. And that's a hit. So which means for song to make sense today, it must not make sense. For some to make sense, it must not make sense. And in that insensibility, in that senselessness, we are here to take a position. Let me tell you, friends, at the end of the day, you will live or fall, you will rise or fall by your belief. Your belief will show in your habits. Your habits will bring your relationships to you. Your relationship will determine your opportunities. Your opportunities will determine your relevance in life. That's how these things work. It is time for us to take a position as parents to decide what exactly do we want. We can't we can't today be obnobbing with the enemy, and tomorrow we are saying something else to our children. We need to ask ourselves the critical question: what exactly do we want? What kind of children do we want to raise? We are in an over-sexualized world. In that over-sexualized world, what is raising all those children are listening to? Remember that children, they don't only listen to people, they copy their lifestyle. Now, so what is reigning today? Baby mama, Two-Face Idibia had 4 children before he got married. As of today, Olamide has 2, not married. Those are the people you are endorsing their songs. Olamide has 2. Whiskey has 2, not married. Baby mama, baby daddy, that is what is reigning now. That is the lifestyle. The institution of marriage is being desecrated and violated. But the thing is that they are successful. They are successful. So success now is not about how you got there. Success is about the fact that you have gotten there. Forget that the life of a man is not as important as the principles that the man lived with. That the resources of a man is not as important as how he or she got it. That at the end of the day, your status is not as important as how you got there. So let me conclude. I'm sorry, there's a lot I want to say, but there's no time. And so, but I need to open your eyes to the reality of what we are dealing with. Let me define pornography for you. Pornography is anything that arouses your sexual sensibility unnecessarily. Pornography is anything that arouses your sexual sensibility unnecessarily onto vanity, onto waywardness, onto irresponsible living. That is pornography. Anything that arouses your sexual sensibility unnecessarily onto vanity, onto irresponsibility, that is pornography. And as of today, there are 2 kinds of pornography. I think I will define it and I will stop. There are 2 types of pornography. Now, when Josh McDowell is saying it is not about whether our children are exposed to pornography, but what they do when they are exposed to pornography, because Josh McDowell is saying it's a matter of when. It's a matter of when. So note, when Josh McDowell is saying that, he's conscious that there are 2 types of pornography. So don't take my word for it. When we finish this conversation, go to the internet and Google these 2 things. You will read them up in Wikipedia. I didn't write Wikipedia. There are 2 types of pornography. The first one is softcore pornography. Now, when I was growing up, there was only one kind of pornography. It was called hardcore pornography. That is explicit. A man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, is explicit pornography available. Everything naked and defenseless. That was what was common when I was growing up. So if you wanted to watch that kind of pornography, you needed to plan for it. You needed to look for the VHS. You needed to look for when you were going to play it and all of that. But today, there's another type of pornography. It's called softcore pornography, suggestive pornography, in words and in pictures. Eletumare, bless you with body, oh baby. Start with that's pornographic, arousing your sexual sensibility unnecessarily. That is pornography, softcore. And so that soft core is available anywhere today, widely distributed. And we need to pay attention. We need to ask questions. We need to understand, say, how did you know all of these songs? When I hear this song, I go online to check the lyrics. I want to know, what is this person saying? Many years ago, somebody came and said, Omo, I want to dance with you. That's the band. He has fizzled out now. Omo, malo rope mo kere. If your bread friend come, anything you want, ask pere. Even if it's silver and your children are dancing, Omo, I want to dance with you. Pere. Omo, malo rope. The title of the song is pere. Omo, malo rope mo kere. If your bread friend come, dancing all kinds of rubbish. Poco. The body. What is that? You don't even draw the line anymore. What body are you carrying? For God's sake. I've covenanted with my mind. God is there. And I know what he has instructed me to do. In my home, channel O cannot be watched. In my home, MTV base cannot be watched. Now, it's not a rule. It's not rules and regulations. It is because it has been embedded in our value system, in our family constitution. It is clear what our family represent. It is clear my role in that family constitution as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of my family, who is responsible for the territorial integrity of our family. Things that can come in, things that cannot come in. People we can allow, people cannot allow. You can't come to my house uninvited. It's not possible. It's not, you will be shown the way out from the gate, irrespective of who you are. There has to be an invitation. It's not possible. All of those things were settled in our constitution. So we're not running around like headless chicken, trying to respond to situation. We understood the world in which we are today and what we need to do to remain safe. You have to take responsibility for your sanity and the sanity of your children, because those who want to destroy our children, it is business for them. They are smiling to the bank. Big Brother got in over 30 billion naira, over 30 billion. They've not counted phone calls, so they've not counted a whole lot of things. Sponsorship. This is big, heavy business. And those who are doing it are not going to rest. And you that want to protect your children, you have not even taken a position. Now note, when I go to parties and they are playing for children, adult content, I tell them, I say, stop it. Stop this thing, it's not right. You can't be doing this to children. This music is not meant for them. Shoe has size. I have my size, my wife has her size. Wear for children their size. This music is not meant for them. Two-Face does not sing for children. Davido does not sing for children. Whiskey does not sing for children. Pokoli does not sing for children. They don't sing for children. They don't even sing for sane adults. Adult that is sane. They sing for people who are ready to go crazy. Because everything is about sex. Everything is about nakedness. Everything is about breast. Everything is about back front. Everything is about rubbish. For some to make sense, it must not make sense. So it's that one I want to be listening to spend my life, to be patterning my life after that. Now, look, note. The problem today again is with our teaching. We call children, not that a child is anybody below 18. We tell children that there's something called private part, public part. So when somebody touches your private part, don't talk. Talk when somebody touches your public part. That's when you should talk. Note, that is a fallacy. That teaching in itself has set up many children. There's no such thing as private part for children. And if there's anything like private part for children, it exists for the purpose of understanding the area of the body that needs to be covered and the one that needs to be uncovered. It has been to do with the sexuality of the girl or the boy or it has decency. So when you talk about private part, public part, it has no, you don't bring in into saying, hey, if anybody touches your private part, let me break it down if I have time. I just break it down for like 5 minutes and I will get out of your face. Now look, Listen to me. I spent the last 23 years of my life for this subject matter. 23 years. I'm a lawyer, qualified, caught to the Nigerian bar in the last 22 years. I'm a senior lawyer in Nigeria today. Today, my work has been recognized globally. UNICEF, British Council, those are my clients. UNICEF, British Council, international organizations. They are my strength. The year Nigeria declared recession, I declared profit because I was being paid in hard currency. So those are the people I work with. Those are the people who benefit from my wisdom. International organizations, UNICEF since 2005, British Council since 2013, SOS Student Village since how many years? I do project for them year in, year out. So this, what I want to say to you, is a product of my keen research. Having been exposed to all kinds of teaching. And I will try and do it in 3 minutes. Now, please note, when you say private part, public part, note that for a child, every part of the child is private. Why? Nobody has the right to touch any part of the body of a child, except for the purpose of care and moderate affection. Except for the purpose of care and moderate affection. This is how it works. When you tell children that there's somewhere called private part, and they need to only be worried when somebody touches the private part, need note, the people who want to abuse our children don't start with vagina. Maybe we don't understand the thinking of the enemy. They don't start with penis. They don't start with bum. They don't start with breasts. Where do they start with? They start with a conversation. It's called grooming. The abuser of children does things. Number one, it begins with profiling. It's good for the child who is dull, who is always looking away when she's talking, he or she's talking, he's always looking down, who cannot be firm, who cannot be sure, who is not sure of his identity. When the lion wants to pray, the lion does not go for the nearest animal. The lion goes for the weakest animal. If you watch Nat Geo Wild, when the lion wants to pray, the lion stays somewhere and begin to picture all the animals, begin to profile them. The lion is not going to roar. The lion is not going to do anything. Though the lion is hungry. Once the lion has pictured the one it's going for, the lion roars. When the animals hear the roaring of the lion, what did they do? They begin to run. When they begin to run, the lion runs after them. The lion does not go for the nearest. The lion goes for the weakest. Because in the observation of the lion, and with the level for all that the lion is dealing with, the lion does not have time to struggle. The lion is going for the weakest, who is easy to take. The first thing the abuser does is to profile the child. That's why I tell you to be confident. Introduce yourself with confidence. Look straight into somebody's face and say, I am Taiwo Oluwawemimo Akinlami. Nobody is hurrying me to introduce myself. So you can't hurry me. So I take time a few times I go to court. When I announce my appearance, the whole court turns. Taiwo Akinlami is spelled A, but so you can't mistake me. Akinlami is spelled, my Lord, A-K-I-N-L-A-M-I, my Lord. Akinlami. Everybody will turn. We need to tell children to be confident, to be bold. Why are you looking away? Why are you laughing when nothing is funny? Why are you laughing when you're not being tickled? What's the problem? Be laughing. How are you? For what? Be firm. So grooming. Number one is profiling. Number two is grooming. What is grooming? Make the child comfortable with abuse and the abuser. So the abuser will start using what? You are my wife, you are my husband. After a while, we begin to hold the hand of the child. So when you tell the child that what the child is supposed to complain about is the vagina and the penis, the child does not see anything wrong with those kind of conversation. The child does not see anything wrong with the holding of the hand. So the child is comfortable. By the time the person is going to strike, the child is already comfortable with the person, because the purpose of grooming is to get the child to be comfortable with the person and with the abuse and the abuser. There's something called Stockholm syndrome, where the person who has been abducted, who has been abused, begins to feel sympathy for the person who abused him or her, because you have allowed them to develop relationship. The third thing the abuser does is to attack. After the abuser has attacked, the abuser begins to manipulate, either through threat or offering some comfort. I will take care of you. Or if that one does not work, I will kill you and kill myself and kill your mother and kill your father. Don't tell anybody. When you understand that, you won't be telling children that there's something called private part, public part. Now, your child is 8 years old. Can you back for your 8 years old? We have been told from age 4, age 5, children should be able to back for themselves under our supervision. You can't wake up today and say you want to back for your 12-year-old girl or your 30-year-old girl or your 40-year-old girl as a father. You have a problem, except the child is ill and the child is not able to take care of himself or herself. Then you can come in ahead. Private part is not for the purpose of sex, sexuality education. So what is to be covered, what is to be naked, and not. Those who abuse children don't start with private part, I've told you. Secondly, if you go to ShopRite, for example, in Lagos, and somebody sees your child and comes from nowhere to hug your child, are you going to allow it? Is the person touching the vagina? Is the person touching the penis? No, but it just comes to hug you don't know the person. Even you adult, all these private public power we are carrying around, can somebody just come and tap you on your shoulder that you don't know before? Would you say, excuse me, what's the problem? Did the person touch your private part? Did he touch your vagina? Did he touch your penis? But the person just touch you, say, no. What we talk about in our organization is necessary touch and unnecessary touch. There's no such thing as good touch, bad touch. Every touch is bad when it is not necessary. The only touch that is, which is for the purpose of care and affection. And let me wrap it this way. If a child is anybody below 18, if I go and touch a child is anybody below 18, and the child says, goes to tell mom, I'm an adult, I'm somebody above 18, and I touch a child, and the child goes to the mom and says, mommy, that means that touched me sexually. And the mother comes to me and says, why did you touch my sexually? My defense cannot be that I just touch her shoulder. No. I have no right to touch any child that I don't have any relationship with. I want to have a relationship. The touch has to have meaning. Is it that I'm offering affection? Is it that the person, the child, I want to offer stimulation? Is it the person wants to fall? I want to take the person up? Is it that as a mother offering affection, mothers and fathers are encouraged to hug their children as many times as possible in a day, particularly when they are young? That we went to do inter-house sport and I did well, and you want to hug me as a male teacher to a female girl who is pregnant, and I hold you there like this, I hold you there. What is that? That is unnecessary. I can hold you briefly by the side. I can pretend I don't know that nothing in your chest, and those things on your chest are sensitive. So this is the point. You can't even, you can't say it's not sexual. The child says it's sexual because what is sexual is within the subjective reality of the child. What is sexual is within the subjective reality of the child. And you cannot say the child did not talk. The child does not have capacity to give consent to any form of sexual touch, any sexual overtures. A boy was deported from Norway because he winked at a child. He got a scholarship to go and read in Norway. And he went to the supermarket, winked at a child. And the child called the police. And the police came, why did you wink at her? She's 16. Say, I thought she's 21 or she's older than I said, that does not matter. You don't, that is a sexual overture to it. We don't allow it in our country. That's why we are nowhere. You are deported. You are going back to your country. Are you following what I'm saying? So note, even you that are an adult, can anybody touch you without your consent? That's when you can do consent to every woman. There's nobody that can organize a training and say, I want to teach you what turns your wife on. I want to teach you what turns your husband on. That's personal study. Because what turns on one woman is never what turns on the another. What turns on a man, one man is very one turns on the another. So you cannot organize a general training and say that I want to teach you how to turn your husband on, touch the leg, touch the head. So husband, when you slap his head from the back, he's turned on, he's ready to go. Just like that. So the point I'm trying to make is this. When it comes to sex or sexual experiences or sexuality, it is largely subjective. It's a subjective quantity. It's not an objective quantity. So what works for me may not work for you. So that is the point. I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you. I remember when we used to do literary and debating, not that I did literary and debating in school. The school did not consider me good enough for literary and debating. They didn't consider me, so I was never part of literary and debating, but they considered me good to write my name down every day as a noisemaker. They considered me good enough to write my name down every day as a disturber. Noisemakers were caned on the assembly. And noisemaker was caned in the class. The disturbers were caned. They were caned on the assembly every day, every Monday. Before the food, what are they caning me for? For being outspoken. This thing that I'm doing that is blessing you was what they wanted to take away in school. Did me so many evil and they did me so many damage. Thank God for God. Because of his plan for my life, he's able to rescue me. And there's a series that I'm doing right now that you need to follow on my YouTube channel. You need to go and subscribe to that channel. Every Friday I'm there. It is called our YouTube channel. Now I'm discussing the topic, expulsion from school, disruption or discipline. I've done 3 series now. You need to go there and subscribe to that channel and listen. You may want to join our Facebook group. I'm there also on Friday to have conversations. It's called Taiwo Akinlami Group. You may want to follow me on Twitter. Taiwo Akinlami. You want to follow me right away on Instagram. It's Taiwo Akinlami. You may want to subscribe to our channel, Saveview TV. Saveview TV is a TV for children where we discuss things, all these matters that I'm saying here. We discuss it in a way that children will understand. Then we have radio drama. Then we have weekly programs, story of the week, a lot of things. It's a channel that you need to subscribe to. If you are going to rescue the destiny of your children from pop culture, you have to be deliberate. We have to stop doing catch-up. It is good that must be doing, it is the evil that must be doing catch-up for evil, for good. But the role has been reversed. It is good that is doing catch-up because good is not proactive. Evil is crawling behind. And good is here to recognize that there's a line to be drawn. My prayer is that God will help us to do the needful. So I will say to you, don't make it your ambition to change the world. The world is a massive place, 7 billion people. Where do you start from? If I were you, I will focus on my country, on my continent. Don't even make it your ambition to change your continent, Africa. When one man loses election, Museveni, and locked up his opponents in January 14. Is that a country? So Africa is a big place to start from. Maybe you should start from Nigeria. Nigeria, Jonathan was said to be clueless, and this present president is said to be absent. Where do I start from? Then I will focus on my state. My state, where do I start from? Then I will focus on my local government. My local government, where do I start from? Then I will focus on my streets. My street, where do I start from? And I will focus on my building. My building, where do I start from? And I will focus on my room. My room, where do I start from? I will focus on my bed. My bed, where do I start from? I will focus on my bed space. My bed space, where do I start from? I will focus on myself. Because when I focus on myself, my bed space will change. When my bed space changes, when my bed changes, my room will change. When my room changes, my building will change. When my building changes, my street will change. When my street changes, my local government will change. My local government changes, my state will change. When my state changes, my country will change. When my country changes, my change. When my continent changes, my world will change. That means you are the change the world has been waiting for. And you have an unusual opportunity to start with your children. Because the Ghanaian proverb says, a nation begins in the host of his people. So also, the prosperity of a nation begins in the host of his people. God bless you.
us this session. Mrs. Busola, please. On. I couldn't just hold back my my acknowledgement of the great job that both speakers have done. Thank you, Mr. Akinlami. Well done, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. You did convince us beyond a reasonable doubt that parenting is quite a very serious job, and we all have our own parts as individuals, as parents, to play, and it really starts from us. If you do have questions, please you can raise your hand. Questions we have being posted on the chat. Please, I would want Mr. Akinlami to please help us take those first two questions. The very first one says that, please, what age is right to open sex conversations with your children? Okay. And the other one is, I'm a busy mom who goes to work, early in the morning, and it's the house help who helps between the children about 3, 6, and 8 years old, and the house help is an opposite sex. Please help us answer this question, sir.
Okay, number one, when do you begin to talk to your children about sexuality and all of that? Professionals say from 18 months, 18 months, 1 year, 6 months. That's the general, that's what you're going to see online. That's what people say, the books that we read. After people created product for children from 18 months. But I say from the womb. I say from the womb, from when the child is born. Start talking to the child at least about body parts. As you are about the body parts, you say, oh, but the child does not understand. No. Let me prove it to you. When the child speaks for the first time, the child speaks the dominant language of the environment in which the child is growing up. The question is, when did you teach the child? When did you teach the child, Baba, 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 is pointing to that man and studying. When did you teach the child, Mommy? You didn't teach. The child caught the message. The problem of times, we don't take responsibility for what children should understand, should hear early. What children hear accelerates their understanding. So we need to speak to them. Start with the body parts. Read books to them. You say they don't understand. They understand. They don't understand, but they are hearing. And that is what is powerful. That is what is powerful. They are hearing. So as to who is busy, who goes to work and all of that, well, I understand the fact that we have to work. As a matter of fact, in this country, in Africa, we are disadvantaged in the sense that we run our family as local government chairmen and chairwomen. We are responsible for everything. We have to go out. We have to do everything and all of that. But this is my admonition to you. You have to sit down and look at, how do I protect my children? Number one, have you spoken to your children about their sexuality, about sex? Because sexuality is different from sex. Sex is a minute part of sexuality. Sexuality is massive. It's about your physiological, physical makeup and all of that. It's massive. When you get your sexuality right, you will get sex right, So have you had that conversation? Then you want to use the help of technology in terms of using CCTV camera, put it around your house, ensure that so that you can see for yourself the things that happen when you are not around. But you have to work. So we can't tell you to resign from the work, but you have to also understand. You have to do like the bird in Chinua Achebe's book. Since men have learned to fly, since men have learned to shoot and not to miss, I have learned to fly and not to perch. Since I have to work, we can't give in. Because when there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to ensure that our children are protected. One of the things you can also do is to ensure you have rich conversations with your children. In the course of that conversation, a lot will be opened up. When the children know they can talk to you, when you don't come back and you are too tired to have a conversation, when you have those conversations, you'll be shocked at the level of revelations that can come from those conversations. I'm true.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll take another question. This Ms. Kim, take this question. It reads that a house assistant who is a female told a 7-year-old boy that you're having a hair growing around your penis. You're a big man now. And she was trying to make comparison with herself and her own husband. So the child told the mother, and the mother is, how can a woman handle this? How can handle this information that is such a child is being exposed to by the house help? Mrs. Kemi, can you hear me, please? Hello?
Okay, we can, I'm trying to find her here. It could be some technology issue. And just to add a bit to the question, from reading it, I think the woman also is stating that they're hairy kind of in their family. It seems that the young little boy, the 7-year-old, is showing some signs of, growing the, I think the pubic hair and all of that. So the child now said, oh, auntie, or maybe, opposite sex, like they said, you're not a big boy now. So the boy got to the mother and say, what does this mean by I'm a big man now also? So how do we handle it? Maybe we get, I think it's good that we get Barrister Kinlami to handle this question for us. Ms. Kemi Onio, are you in, ma'am? Okay, Barrister Kinlami, over to you, sir.
I think we first need to look at the good side of that conversation, or the good side of that experience. The good side is that the son went to speak to the mother about it. That's the good side, very good, that the son is able to understand that, to have that conversation with the mom. It means that the communication channel between the mom and the son is open. So we wouldn't be having this conversation now if the boy had not gone to speak with the mom to ask questions. That is a plus, and we need to encourage that. We need to encourage our young people, our children, to speak up, to have conversations. That was something I was not blessed with when I was growing up. I lost my virginity at the age of 6. That's why I started primary school, because my dad would kill me with a neighbor, and this neighbor would put me naked, do with a 60-year-old boy what a man should do with a woman. Before I knew it, my sexuality was awoken as a child. And as a child, I started having sexual relationship with other children, homosexuality, anal sex, and all of that. And when my mother told me to speak, so it's a good thing. Now that the boy has spoken up, I think the next thing the mom needs to do is to answer that question that the boy has asked. And mommy, what does it mean that I'm a big boy because of this? The mother needs to let the child understand the meaning of puberty signs, the things that begin to happen to you when you begin to develop, physically and sexually. It is not a sign that you are ready for anything. You need to let children understand. It is a sign that you are growing, and your life, when your puberty needs to speak, you can be sure that it will speak now. What I tell children is this. I tell them, I say, if you are, for example, you want to urinate, and you are in the school bus, do you urinate in the school bus? You don't. Though you are pressed, you wait for the appropriate place. What did you do when you hold the urine? What you have done is that you delayed gratification. There's a level of relief that comes to you when you finally urinate. There's a level of comfort that comes to you when you finally go to the toilet. But you had it because it is not you are not in an appropriate place, and it is not an appropriate time. So that you begin to see these puberty signs. It's not a sign that you're ready for anything. You must hold that feeling. You must hold that crush, noting that there is a time and there's a place. The same way you will not just differentiate in the goals or begin to narrate. I say, what's going to say, I'm just narrating now because I feel like narrating. So those are conversations we need to have with children. And I want you to know that this conversation we are supposed to have with children, sometimes we need to be guided. And that's why in our organization, we have created materials. For example, we have a material we call Save For Me. Save For Me is online. If you go to our website, www.powerparenting.com, if you go to our store, from our store, you can order our books. So we have a book, we have 4 series of books there on how to start conversation with your children on different matters, on masturbation, on Valentine's Day, on baby mama, baby daddy, pornography, masturbation, all of those issues. How do you start a conversation? How do you become proactive? Those are books. You know, it's broken to 126 days, but there are 4 volumes. Volume 1, 30 days, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. And we also have comic. One of our comics is dedicated to every part is private to me, because we are saying that, you know, you need to understand these things. So you may need to be guided sometimes. And for you to be guided, you need to invest time, you need to invest in materials and all of that.
Mom, why are you calling me?
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the questions that was asked the other time, I guess you didn't finish up on it, about the children age 3, 6, and 8 who are being cared for by an opposite sex house help. When should that stop, please?
Okay. Well, I've answered the question. Okay. Do you want me to answer it again?
I think the person put, we have someone who said that she feels that she wants to know when can the person stop. You know, I think the response was that you shared with us is that we should have a CCTV. When should the house help stop beating those children, and what age?
Okay. Let me tell you.
House help should stop?
A child, look, this knowledge is online. You know, it's not. I'm not the creator of it. A child should be able to bath for himself or herself from between age 5 and 6. Are you getting it? Some children start earlier, from 4, thereabouts. Now, but they cannot bath for themselves without supervision, because the issue of safety also comes in. You can't leave a 4-year-old in the bathroom and to be bathing for himself or herself. She can sleep, he can sleep, anything can happen. So children should be able to bath from themselves from age 4, 5, 6, under supervision. As they grow older, you know, they can handle themselves in the bathroom, you can leave them to themselves. So whether it is the house help that is bathing for the children, whether it is the parents, the most important thing is that children must mature. Children must grow. Children must be allowed to do for themselves what they can do for themselves. Now, it is a law in child protection that you don't do for children what they should be able to do for themselves by virtue of their age. You don't do for children what they should be able to do for themselves. So if a child is supposed to be able to bath for himself or herself, you allow the child to bath for himself or herself under supervision. Hello, are we there?
Absolutely. Okay. And we see a comment here that said, I don't allow my house help bait that's from Timothy Evangeli, bait any of my kids. My wife baits the girl while I bait the boys. So thank you so much, Mr. Akilami, for also sharing with us, the succinct perspective in that regard. We want to give like 2 people opportunity to ask question live. Please raise your hand. I already see somebody who raised her hand. Mrs. Danielu, Shakira, please, do you want to come onto the microphone at this point? You have a question.
Good morning. Yes, I have 2 questions. Good morning, Ife, and good morning, everyone. This has been an interesting session for me. because I live in the UK, and I guess my children are more exposed. And these days, they're even trying to teach children about, having two moms, having two dads, so many information, even teaching. Sometimes I feel it is inappropriate at the time. So my two questions really is, one is about, the music you spoke about. I am a Muslim. I listen to music, not really, but I'm not so big on, I try to censor what they listen to, but I'm trying to ask, is it okay for us to say, oh, this music is bad, don't listen to it? We try to not let them listen to those kind of music. But in actual fact, they will be, they are going to be on their own at certain times that people will be listening to this kind of songs. So is it not better we just try to let them know the kind of music they should be listening to instead of trying to take them away entirely from the music? That's one. Then two, when you see, because there was an instance with my daughter that I left her with someone. This person is a family friend, but he has an older daughter. And I left her there because of the older daughter. But when I got there, when I picked her up afterwards, then I now asked her question because I'm very paranoid with issues like this. And I asked her what happened. And because she was there with her younger brother. But the younger brother had slept by the time I went to pick her up. And she said that at some point, the man said that she should sit down on her laps or something. I was furious. I didn't know what to do. I don't know whether to confront. I didn't know what to do. So what I just did was I explained to her, no sitting. I tried to tell my daughter what to do and what not to do. And I distanced myself from the family. But then I didn't know whether I was supposed to have, confronted him, done something. It's just now when you spoke about it, and I felt like maybe I should have done more than just talk to my daughter and distance myself from the family. But what do you think I should have done in that kind of situation? Thank you.
Okay. Number one, the first question is about what children listen to. It is important to note that what children are supposed to listen to must be according to their age. That's why there is age restriction on movies that children can watch. We cannot say because they're going to see it somewhere, we now allow them to watch it. The songs that I'm talking about are not meant for children. We need to get that straight. Number one, it's not about whether they will hear it somewhere. If they hear it somewhere, it's an aberration. And that is why we need to inculcate in our children the positive value system so that when they hear something somewhere that they're not supposed to hear, their value system can pick it. Because we are not the only one in the lives of our children. So when our own value system is dominant in their lives, anywhere they go, they are able to stand out. Children still stand out in this world today. They still stand out. They still insist. And no, we are not going to do this. We don't do this in my family. We don't watch this in my family. No, we don't. Children still stand out. Depending on the father, depending on when you start inculcating the right value system in your children. I don't believe in peer pressure, because this thing you call peer pressure is submission to a value system. That's the meaning of peer pressure. That somebody comes to pressure you, so you submit to the person's value system. That is the meaning of pressure. You also, as a child, you can become the pressure point, that they will also submit to your own positive value system. It's a possibility. It depends on how we have raised them or what we have taught them. I'm telling you, it's more difficult in this age and time because the tools of distraction. Now, when I was born into a world where the tools of distraction needed to be activated. Now, the children of today are born into a world where all the elements of distraction are already waiting for them. They were born into it. So we can't allow our children to take poison because one day they may go somewhere and take poison. No. The video does not sing for children. When you look at his video, they will put there 18. When you look at Big Brother, they will put there 18. Anybody below 18 is supposed to watch. So that's what I'm talking about. There is age limit, there is age restriction on every media content. Sometimes they will say 16, they will say it's a family thing. The safest thing is for you to ensure that what your children listen to is age appropriate. Age appropriate. Oh, you want to listen to it and you don't want your children to listen to it. Research has now shown that your children listen to what you listen to. If they don't listen to it, holy money, holy fire, holy money. Don't worry. You quickly put yourself together. But the child is already hearing it. The child is already picking it in you. So what I'm saying is that children should be protected from what they're not supposed to listen to. That is the position. That is why there's age restriction. That is why your child cannot. That is why there's age. Any music, any media content, there's age appropriateness. That's number one. Number two is the fact that when your daughter tells you that this is what this man has done, well, for me, I won't say you were wrong by not confronting the man. And I won't say you were right. I will say there are parents, there are mothers who also will not believe their daughter. There are mothers who also say, my friend, you are too forward. What's your problem? There are mothers like that. But you have done well by using the opportunity as a teachable moment to talk to your daughter, to say the beautiful things that your daughter did not sit on the man's thigh, on the man's lap. That's a beautiful thing. The child has been taught to a level. The beautiful thing is that the child spoke. The beautiful thing is that you believed the child. The beautiful thing, you now took the opportunity to educate your child. That is appropriate. But the most appropriate is to also stay away from, have a conversation with the man and say, excuse me, sir, my daughter just told me that you asked her to sit on your lap, sir. I don't know if it is true. It's not a fight. It's not that you stupid man, I don't know, confuse all money. No, there's nothing like that. Oh, no, it never happened. It never happened. Well, but that's what my daughter says. I just want to say that I don't think it is right, with most profound respect, for children to sit on the lap of parents, of adults who are not their parents. In our own homes, we don't do that. And you may have such conversation, friendly conversation. He may agree, he may not agree. He may even say, oh, wow, I just wanted to show her something. Well, the man may be a pervert. The man may just be ignorant. It can be either of the two. He may be a pervert, but we don't want to wait to find out that he was a pervert. We don't want to find out. Both the person who wants to abuse a child and the person who is ignorant, both of them will say, come and sit here. So we don't want to wait to find out. So I don't think you've done bad. I think you've done well. But the most appropriate thing is to let the person know. See, when you do that, you further validate to your child that you believe in that thing. You further validate to the child that you believe in that thing, and you will defend it anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we have two hands up. So we'll just take one question from them. So we have Elizabeth Aruba and then Pastor Vivian Johnson. So in that order, please ask your question so that we can, wrap up the session. Like I said to a friend, I said this topic is inexhaustive, really. So there's so much that we can really learn. There's so much to know about it. So I'll be sharing some resource from Barrister Akinlami afterwards. So there's going to be a number on the chat group. So you just WhatsApp the number, and then we share with you the website, the blog, and all of that, the YouTube channel, and all those. So let's take the question so that we can get closer to the final lap of things.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Elizabeth. My question is for Barrister. I was one who put that question, but I don't think that the second question was answered. And the issue I have with the question is the fact that is the emphasis on the opposite sex. But between, I don't know what sex the 3, 6, and 8 are. Let's take, for instance, they are girls and the house help is a boy. Is it appropriate? Is it the right thing? You're talking about installing what's it called now? CCTVs in the home. Is that a corrective measure? Because at the end of the day, if anything would have happened, it would have happened. That CCTV is not going to stop anything from happening. That's number one. Number two, you're talking about the fact that sexual education is not about private or public parties. It is grooming. It is them getting comfortable. If an opposite sex, who is a man, is having a bath for 3 girls, are they not making them comfortable? Tomorrow, if an uncle comes and they've not had their bath and the uncle says, let me have your bath for you, wouldn't they be okay to release themselves for an uncle, a pervert or a pedophile, to have their bath for them? So what exactly is the standard, irrespective of whether the mother is busy or not busy? There are mothers who do not even work at all, and they have 3, 4 house help in the house, 1 for each child. What exactly is the standard that should actually be adopted across board, whatever, irrespective of what the schedule of this mother or father is? You know, because I, just like the last speaker, I'm from the UK as well. And in the UK, 2-year-old children are being told that it is okay for you not to be comfortable. If you're born as a girl and you want to change into a boy, it is fine. Now they are pressurizing the NHS to sponsor surgical operations on children who are not fine with being their initial sex, and this has to be done even without the consent of the parents. In classrooms, primary 1 children are being taught about the fact that they can have 2 moms, they can have 2 dads. They don't have to, actually, a man and a woman doesn't even have to come together to have children. They are encouraging surrogates. People should come up and be carriers for 2 moms and 2 dads. So what is the standard? What is acceptable across board, where irrespective of location, irrespective of profession, irrespective of anything, what is the standard exactly? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we should take the second question so that I can take the response I can read. I don't know if it's okay. Let me take this because I wouldn't know whether the second question is for me. So, Mrs. Elizabeth, thank you for your question and your comment question. It's both a comment and a question. Let me start from where you ended, which is the disposition of our word to the subject matter of sexuality. Sex and gender don't mean the same thing anymore. Gender is a matter of persuasion. Now, gender is a matter of persuasion. It doesn't matter whom I'm born to be. It's about whom I believe I should be. So it's about, and that in itself is a subject matter that to be addressed also. There's so much noise. Sorry, can you mute if you are not talking, please? Can you mute? Please, can we mute, please? Okay, let me try. It's just that I'm a bit distracted. So that subject matter in itself, what you are saying is that in that climb, there's little or nothing parents can do about it. This is a major issue. So at that level, it's not a matter of standard, it's a matter of government policy. And vis-a-vis what the response of parents should be at that level. So parents now are going to respond according to their own value, what they believe, what they don't believe. Do I want to allow my child to change her sex or to change his sex? It means if I don't allow, if I refuse, it means I will face the wrath of the law and all of that. I think what that is telling us is that we need to intensify, we that believe otherwise, we need to intensify our work as to sexuality, as to gender, Do you believe male and female he created ye them? Are you in the forefront of also promoting what you believe? From time immemorial, Planned Parenthood is doing a lot. And whether you like it or not is a matter or not.
So we seem to have lost the audio.
Hello? Are you still hearing me?
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
We can hear you now.
So it's a battle of belief system at that level. So having said that, let me come back to this issue of the opposite sex. Let me agree that I didn't pay attention to the subject matter of opposite sex. I didn't pay attention. Female caregiver do abuse female children. Male caregiver do abuse male children. Those who run crèches and who run all those small kindergarten and all of that, they say, I don't do boys, I don't do men, I don't do men. Why is it that they don't do men? They don't do men because they believe that children are more threatened under men. So they do girls, they do ladies. But even when you do ladies, that does not take away the place of background checks. That does not take the place of critical supervision that is necessary at the end of the day. So for me, on the face of it, you may say that a man should not look after girl children who is not their father or their mother on the face of it. You may say that a woman who is not their mother should not look after the boy child. So maybe it's a man that should look after the boy child. All of these are subjective, really, at the end of the day. It is on case-by-case basis because I'm careful to make rules. Under no circumstance should a woman who is not their mother look after them. A man who is, because there are instances where the opposite sex, who is a family member, who does not have bad record, who is not an evil person, who has been investigated, who is known to be upright, look after the children for the parents, and is a man, and is the one who is going to take care of those children. The most important thing is to look at matters on number two, this person that I want to leave my children for, can I vouch for the person? What does it mean to be able to vouch for person? Sorry. The stranger is somebody you can be your husband. A stranger can be your wife. A stranger can be your brother. A stranger can be your sister. That the person is your sister or he has been with you for a donkey years does not mean the person is in a good place to look after your children. So you have to look at it on case-by-case basis. What machinery have you put in place to investigate before you commit? Now note, when I talk about CCTV camera is not preventive, and it is very sad. It's only curative, because it is when you check, you see that something is happening. But another thing that can happen with CCTV camera is that you can nip it. For men, if you can do it, I've met women who said, because of my children, I changed my job. I reduced my. I can have time to be there for my children. There are women who take those decisions. That is the most appropriate in the circumstance, to be there for these children. Because what you are going to lose to the work that you are doing is not commensurate to what you are going to get from that work when you leave your children to people. Now, the challenge we are dealing with in the third world is that as a parent, you are on your own. We need to recognize that. And we need to agitate concerning that. You see, I am glad people are here from the UK. I'm glad people are here from different countries who have lived in developed countries. There's no country in the world where the responsibility of raising children or looking after children or protecting them is strictly on the shoulder of the primary parent alone. That's the father and the mother. There are 4 institutions that are responsible for raising children. The reason for the pressure that we face in Africa, in the third world, is because the 3 of these institutions are comatose. And the responsibility of raising children is now on the shoulder of only one institution. We keep saying family is first, family is first. Family is first, but family is not all. Family is not all. Family is first. There's no support system for parents. There's no support system for fathers. Many of our fathers are running around raising school fees. Something that is not primarily the responsibility of parents. School fees is not primarily the responsibility of the parents in the developed world. School fees is not. If you want to send your child to a private school, it's a choice that you have made. Meanwhile, public school is available to all. But here, a father is running around trying to raise school fees. Is that the job of a father? The responsibility of a family is to inculcate positive value system in their children. The responsibility, there are 4 other institutions. So a vehicle that is supposed to be running on 4 tires is running on 1 tire. I don't envy the Nigerian parents. I don't envy the African parents. We are going through a lot. So this woman now that you are talking about, who has 3 children, who is keeping them with somebody, you need to listen to her personal story before you can advise her. That is why it is difficult for me to give general principles when we have meetings like this. Because if I'm a medical doctor, nobody calls me in a general meeting and says, this is what I'm going through. I will examine you personally because there are not 2 stories that are the same. When I examine you personally, the recommendation I'm going to give to A is made from the recommendation I'm going to give to B. A and B may come to me with the same symptoms. And I'm going to ask the A, are you allergic to any drug? He says, I'm not allergic. That is going to inform the drug I'm going to recommend to A. B says, I'm allergic to this, I'm allergic to that. That is going to determine the kind of drug I'm going to recommend to the other one. Because in this life and in this parenting journey, in trying to protect our children, there are some instances where we cannot come down with hard and fast rule because we are not in the shoes of these people. So we can only talk about general principles, and as it applies to you, you will take it. So the first institution is the family. The second institution is the community. We used to say it takes the community to raise a child. Where is the community today? Everybody is involved in the rat race. Everybody is trying to find their level. Then in the community, you have the family. In the community, you have the neighbors. In the community, you have the media. In the community, you have the church, you have the mosque. Who is regulating what children are listening to in the media? Everybody is thinking money, 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 money. Who is regulating that? Then you have the state, that is the government. The government is supposed to make policies, implement policies. The government is supposed to take responsibility for education. It's supposed to take responsibility for shelter. It's supposed to take responsibility for health. It's supposed to take responsibility for a lot of things. All in this Black Africa, in Nigeria, 92 million parents, 92 million people are living in abject poverty. And just yesterday, a statistic was released that 15 million people will be added to the poverty line by the end of this quarter. When I talk about poverty, I'm talking about people living on less than $1 per day. That is the social structure that we are dealing with here. So we are careful, we advise parents. Their children must be protected. But when they leave their job and because they want to protect the children, which is important, are the children going to eat sand? Are they not going to register them in school? Are they not going to pay school fees? Are they not going to rush them to the hospital and pay for health? Are they not going to do all of that? In trying to solve one problem, we create another. So we are careful. In my early days, when I started this work, I would say, resign, talk about your children. But I've now come to know that it does not work that way. It doesn't work that way. I know the load I carry as a person. So the international community is there, but the international community is always looking after interest. So for me, we need to, so what I advise parents to do in this kind of situation, form a support group, share experiences, talk to yourselves, share experiences. What are you going through? What are you dealing with? Have conversations as parents, support ourselves. We have common problems, common issues. These are 3 children. How are you dealing? This opposite sex. How did he come into your life? Who is he? Is he an uncle? Is he a friend? Since how long has he been with you? Does he have record of? We have all of this conversation. I don't think you should continue to use him. I don't think you should continue to use her. Because, ladies and gentlemen, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. That's how this life works. You don't just come into my life and be speaking to my life. I should do this, I should do. I want to ask, excuse me, do you know me? You know what I'm going through? Do you know what I'm coming from? You can't just come out by advising me. So for me, that is my disposition. So that person who has that question, if the person sits down to me personally, one-on-one, I will hear the person's case. I will understand the person's case. And I can advise to say, okay, why not do this? You are retiring next year. Well, maybe we can try. Why not try this business? What other skills do you have? What else can you do? Okay, can you begin to deal with a what we call an exit plan, a departure plan? Can you give yourself 2 years within which to leave this job? Now, since you have another option here, all of those things will come into place. So we can say it's not right, leave the child and all of that. But basic things are basic. Due diligence. Can you vouch for this person? What level of care do you release to the person? How do you monitor the person? What is the follow-up you have? What conversation do you have with your children? How do you encourage your children to speak up and all of that? I think those are fundamental principles that we need to imbibe so that we can give our children the best of protection despite the uneasy circumstances we have found ourselves as third worlders, as Nigerians, where government has disappeared. This government here have disappeared. There's no government, I'm sorry to say, they have disappeared. You tell me what accrues to you by virtue of the fact that you are in Nigeria. You tell me one thing that accrues to you now. You pay your rent. You are responsible for your rent. You are responsible for school fees. You are responsible for health. You are responsible for everything. Your children today are your citizens. They are not citizens of Nigeria. Your children are your citizens. And you are blessed. You are privileged to be able to have the resources to give these children the education that their individuality deserves. There are other 13.5 million children who don't have access to education. When COVID struck, 46 million children do not have access to education. They didn't have access because they can't have any device. I went to Isolo here in Lagos. I was talking to children post-COVID, first lockdown. Many of the children in Isolo is not in Tamataba, in Onologuro. It's not in Yonforogi. I'm not talking about Kafanchan. I'm not talking about Kankara. I'm saying Lagos here in Isolo. I spoke to 70 children who have never heard about Zoom. No Zoom. That's what we are talking about. But look at those children, they also need protection, they need to be protected from sexual abuse. They are living in one room with their parents. I was in Isolo last week, this Saturday, to have a physical meeting with parents in a low-cost private school. I know the conversation those parents were asking. One of the parents asked, I live in one room with my children. My first one is 15, the second one is 13, and all of that. How do we keep our private matters private? It's a major issue for us. When you say children should not listen to that, and we are managed to buy one Go TV, and manage all of that. Those are realities that people are dealing with at that level. So there's poverty in the land. You guys that are listening to me are the privileged few, but they are the children of the poor, the oipoloi, the ones of wood and draughts of water, who don't have access to all of these things we are talking about. So for me, I'm going through a lot. The responsibility of letting your children is a Herculean task in the midst of the squalor and lack of social support that we are dealing with. He said, if I'm not raised, I should have built 2 houses in this region. A man told me I relocated to Canada. I'm not going to relocate to, I don't know. A year, I provided to education for my children. they begin to pay when they go to college. And even the children of illegal immigrants who enters America goes to school, illegal immigrants. Because the thinking is that we need to educate these children because they have entered our land. If we don't educate them, they're going to mess up our own children. Our children are going to have peace. That is the thinking there. But what is the thinking here? The thinking here is that the welfare and the security of the people shall be the problem of government is no more so. And that is the reality we are dealing with. Next place of that reality in all of the solutions we are trying to propound. That is why I cannot give parents rule. If they sit down with me, I will show them, I think you should do this, I think you should do this. Okay, let's believe God, let's manage this, because we are under siege. It's only God that is helping us. And that is why when NSAS came, many of you didn't join. Say NSAS, go come in. You see, well, it concerns everybody. I'm 50 years old. I joined NSAS. I went there. I went to help them carry placard. I'm 50. It's supposed to be youth. They are fighting for our destiny of our children. No matter what statement we can make, let me also go there. Let me be seen there. Let me show my support for these young people. That's after showing them, supporting them on Facebook. I went there myself to go and dance with them, to go and sing with them. We know go agree with we went to all of that with them. I believe that something must give way. This country cannot continue like this. Thank you. Well, let me leave that. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please, can we have Pastor Vivian ask a question? She raised her hand. Can we have her ask a question? Pastor Vivian Johnson, are you?
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to ask my question. My question is to Barrister. Something happened. I'm here. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Hello, can you hear me?
We are hearing you, madam.
I have a question, please. I don't know if you can hear me.
We are hearing you, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question goes to you, sir, Barrister. Okay, sir. Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Please go ahead. That connection with the sir.
Hello.
Okay, madam. Do you want to try typing the question? Your connection is not so good. So if you just can kindly type, maybe it will be better.
Try. Pastor Vivian, please go ahead.
Hello?
Please go ahead, Pastor Vivian.
Oh. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'm back now though.
Please go ahead.
Okay, something happened in December. There was a family meeting and we're together kids. These 8-year-old and 6-year-old, they were together, and so something happened. The 6-year-old boy brought out his penis. 8-year-old girl. So the girl came to report to the mom that he uses PP to rub my leg. So the mom was furious. The grandparents came out. These are cousins. the grandparents came out, they tried to solve the issue, and they cautioned both kids. So when the parent of the boy came the next day, the father picked up the boy, spoke to him, and the next thing he did was, why pot? No, next thing she did, the house help in the house. The older girl, he said she was laughing at the boy that he was beating up, that he should stop laughing at the boy, the 6-year-old boy. So the girl's mom, the 8-year-old mom, was really furious because it was really furious. Like, why would you do that? You didn't even call my daughter, ask me any question. You didn't say anything to me. You didn't say anything to both together. You are now questioning. They were laughing at the child. He was crying. Do that made grandpa to spank him, that crying. So later he called the girl and the 6-year-old boy, which is son, and he asked the boy is a very, very smart kid, spelling, answer the question. So it was like, you see, he knows better. So the mom now is like a family issue. We never ever bring her kids ever that boys anymore. And now we have a tradition. You are supposed to bring kids when it's celebration time. And now the girl is to the parents. So she's saying that never, even husband is saying you must. She's saying this again. So she left with her that the daughter was not protected. But now she called me again, asked me. She said, Pastor Viv, what should I do to my daughter? How should I encourage her? What should I say to her? Is she damaged? What should I do? Forget as if it didn't happen. Because all she does before was, nobody's supposed to touch you. Nobody's supposed to touch you with their pee. Nobody. So the girl knew that now she doesn't girl, or it is not affecting her. So now my question is, what should she do to the girl to put the other child?
Okay. Thank you very much for your question, madam. That is, we are talking about a real life situation, and I feel for those children, and I feel that the adults that are supposed to look after them drop the ball. Children have the right to play, but they don't have the right to unsupervised play. It's very, very important. And because of that, we have to be careful when we have children out. You can't say all the children should go and be together in one place. You know, when children come to my house, they are under supervision. They play, but they have the right to play, allow them to play, but they don't have the right to unsupervised play. When lock themselves up somewhere, because that's the responsibility of an adult. Children indulge themselves for a living. They indulge themselves for a living. And flat back. Okay. Children indulge themselves for a living, so it's important. So the first goof there, proper supervision. If they were under proper supervision, all of that will not have taken place. That's number one. Number two is the fact that what has taken place is not right, but whether the impact of what has taken place will be determined by the response of the parents. The first thing you want to do to the boy is to find out how he came about that knowledge. Very, very important. Is it that the boy himself has been abused, has been molested? How did he come about that knowledge? Is it that the parents did not keep their private matters private and the child has been seeing them having sex and the child learned it from there? It is important that we want to help the boy because both the boy and the girl need help. Very important. So now for the girl, the beginning is to have a conversation with the girl, to let the girl know that what happened there is not right. If I hear you very well, it was the girl that reported to the mom, right? Is the girl that is reported to the mom. Is that not so?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
the,
sir.
yes, the fact that the boy, the
girl.
girl knew it to be wrong, the girl knew it to be wrong and spoke to the mom, is a good step. The child needs to understand that, and the child needs to be commended for doing that, and the child needs to be told that what has happened is wrong. And now when you want to talk about the impact of that, if the mother feels that what has happened, that's because you see, you can't say it's a small thing. No, nothing is small. What is small, again, is predicated upon the peculiar experience of the person that it happened to. It may happen to somebody with few words here and there. So if the mother asks the child to say, what do you feel about all of these things? How are you feeling now? Do you feel violated? Do you feel... Now, those are conversations the mother must have with the child, because the mother must not assume how the child is feeling about the matter. The mother must be interested in a cool and calm conversation where the child knows he can say everything that she wants to say, to let the child understand to get the mind of the child. He's an 8-year-old. The 8-year-old already understand what's happened, has an interpretation of what happened. It may be right, it may be wrong. So if the mother feels that the impact on the child is something that is skin deep, the mother may want to ask for support. So this is if the mother is in Lagos, the mother will want to talk to Mirabel Center. Mirabel Center run a counseling unit for children, for women, for men who have experienced sexual abuse one way or the other, and they are funded, and it is free. So if you take your child to Mirabel Center, there are trained counselors there who will listen to what has happened and who will advise her, who will tell her what to do and all of that. I think that can be explored. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, if the mother wants me to talk to the child, I'm also available to offer counseling and all of that. The first thing we need to understand is the impact of that experience on the child, subjectively, not textbook, not 10 things that happen to a child when the child is molested. No, that's not what we're talking about. Practically interfacing with the child. So this is what I would suggest. The mother should further conversation with the child, and when the mother feels that the impact on the child is deep, and the child is beginning to ask and all of that, I think the mother can take a step further by taking the child to Mirabel Center. They are located in General Hospital, Lasut. They are located in Lasut, and you can be sure that your privacy will be protected. You can be sure that you are not going to be charged a time. You can be sure that conversation will be had with the child by professionals, those who are trained to be able to do that, and you can be sure that the child is okay. The most important thing we need to know is that the child is okay. We need to care as much as the 8-year-old, as much as we care about the 6-year-old also. It's very, very important. And the family need to understand, you don't need to call off family meeting because of that, because these are children. Are you getting it? And they experiment with a lot of things. It is important for us, for the parents of the 6-year-old, not to sweep the matter under the carpet, to find help for their 6-year-old. They must find help for him. At the same time, this 8-year-old also needs to be supported one way or the other. And I advise the mom to talk further, not to sweep it under the carpet, to look for help for the child, and I recommend Mirabel Center.
Thank you so very much, sir. It's been an in-depth talk and conversation around, this parenting and the conversation around sex itself. Like I said earlier, it is so this session won't be the last on this topic. It's something that we would come up with a part 2 of this session, and we would let everyone know. I see quite a number of questions that we cannot take all completely on this call, and they're such that everyone would benefit from. So kind of unofficially making a request to Mr. Akilabi, but we'll talk about it. Thank you so much for being on this call today. Thank you, Mrs. Oni. Thank you, Mr. Kinlami. Thank you, everybody, for joining this session and then for the conversation and interaction. It's really been a whole lot of learning. I will share the recording with any interested person. There's a number in the chat box for those that are on Zoom. We had, 70 participants just a little while ago. So, and a number of people are already reaching out. So we share the link to the recording, and we would also share resources from Mr. Kinlami and every other valuable resource that we think would help you on this parenting journey. On this count, I will say a big thank you. And this is Babalala on the call. She actually have a bit to do to wrap up. Mrs. Babalala, are you on? Okay. If she isn't, so that brings us to the end of today's edition of Parenting in Time Like This, PITAT, and thanks all for being part of it. And to our speakers, oh Lord, you have been really a great resource for us today. And we can't say thank you enough for pouring out yourself from your learning, from your experience, from the depth of knowledge that you have, and pouring and sharing with us today. So we say salute to you and well done, sir and ma. Thank you so very much. And do have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Hello, Toby.